All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. This is all about, I can't believe Quizizz can do all that. If you haven't tried Quizizz in a while, I think your mind is going to be blown of all the things that Quizizz can do. It is not just for assessments. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm starting with an actual, you know what? I'm not going to do that question because you don't need to know what role Felisa holds at Quizizz. So let's, in this question, AI now generates questions from our lesson. So that's one thing to know. This is something new that has come out. So it looks at your slides and it will generate those questions for you to create those engaging and interactive questions. So you just got a chance to see what that looks like. This is the question that I wanted to share with you. All right, so what questions do you have about Quizizz that you're hoping to get answered today? And if you have any, feel free, you can put them in this. This is an open response question, or if you just want to just share out, because we're such a small, we're friends. I feel like we're friends at this point. So if you have any specific questions, Katie, feel free. Let's see what questions we have. Does it have AI generated questions with what is new with Quizizz? I got you on that. And Katie, I can definitely help you out with that. All right, so let's go. It definitely has AI generated questions and there are some new features. As you just saw, you all, even with AI is now in lessons and it can generate questions for you. But we're going to talk about the instructional suite. We're specifically going to look at Quizizz AI. And I promise I did not pay Katie to ask that question about AI and Quizizz. And
well, it's a question I feel like that just everybody asks, right? Like,
right, absolutely. And we're also going to talk about accommodations because you can make anything you create accessible for your students. I am Felisa Ford, a Quizizz Professional Learning Specialist. I have Amber here with me. And if y'all need anything, Amber is your go-to. All right, so let's talk about what exactly is Quizizz. Well, let me tell you, it's so much more than just a quiz, you all. It is a teaching platform that's going to let you deliver your instruction so that it's relevant for every student. You can do that with accommodations, and you can create activities with the help from AI. It's great for any grade level, any content, any subject. And with AI, you can create whatever you need in a matter of minutes. And what I really love about it is that Quizizz allows you to bring in your own curriculum resources so that you know whatever you create can be aligned to your standards, aligned to what you already teach. So we're going to start off by looking at the instructional suite. This is where you go to create your content. And as you see, you can adapt anything in your curriculum with the help of AI. So we have 5 different activity types. These are 5 different ways that you can deliver your content. Think of this as your content delivery hub. We have assessments, of course, that's what Quizizz was typically known for. But you all, we also have lessons. I'm running this as a live Quizizz lesson. You can make your lessons engaging, interactive. We have interactive videos. We also have passages and flashcards. So let's take a look at some of these activity types. And let me just say a couple of things. With any of these activity types, you can create them with the help of AI, which makes it really easy, or you can also bring in your resources. With our assessments, you will, and we're going to just look at the free version, y'all. So you're going to have access to all of these basic questions, but there's still over 10 questions that you have access to, from the interactive videos to passages. So you can bring in those comprehension questions, open response questions that AI can actually grade for a teacher. So think about all the time it saves. And you can bring in your worksheets, your PDFs, if you use Google Slides, PowerPoints, whatever it is, or you could just generate from a standard or with AI. With our lessons, of course, and Katie, let me ask you, I forgot to ask, do your teachers use Google Slides or Google or Microsoft?
Yeah, we, even though we're an Apple district, our students are one-to-one with iPads and our staff have MacBooks.
Okay.
We're also a Google district. We work within the Google workspace. I was just going to ask, so let's say I load my my Google Slides. Does Quizizz then is it connected to Google Drive, or will it hang on to those slides?
You know what, Katie, this is another great feature and a new feature. A couple of things that we can do with those Google Slides. We have an AI add-on, Google Slides add-on, that can convert a teacher's current Google Slides into an interactive Quizizz lesson. And this is with an extension. So they would download this extension and it's called Quizizz for Google Slides. So there are 2 ways they could create their lessons. So we just go to Open Quizizz. And so once again, you're using your current curriculum resources, and with the help of AI, I tell it how many questions I want, because we're creating interactive questions for our Google Slides that we currently use. And I could choose my output language. So we just are going to generate these questions. And a teacher could go through their slides. It just prompts them to log into Quizizz really quickly. And then AI takes over. It's going to create those 2 questions that we told, and think of it as your own personal teaching assistant. So I told my teaching assistant, I need 2 questions, and it's going to create these interactive questions. It typically takes AI less than a minute to generate anything in Quizizz. So our questions are ready. I could edit if I need to, but I'm going to save these questions. So it's going to add those right beneath that slide that I originally selected. I could edit if I need to, but I'm also going to just start this as a lesson, just assuming that I've already gone through and had it do this for other slides as well. And so now
it pushes it then over to Quizizz. I don't know if you know what Nearpod is, but that used to do that as well. It's such a convenient.
Right. So that's one way. And now I can share directly to my Google Classroom or however my students would join my activity. We also have a way that you can just upload your Google Slides. And what I love about it, this is a new feature as well. There is now a sync. So when I upload my Google Slides, I can add additional slides to make it interactive, but any changes that I make in the Google slide, I can just update that in Quizizz, and it will automatically reflect the changes in Quizizz. So I don't have to leave out to go to Google Slides to make the update. So there is direct sync. So those are just some benefits to it. And of course, we have just this dynamic toolbox as well, where we can bring in whiteboards, annotate, students can have their own slides and all of that. And we could also add those checks for understanding right within our lesson. And of course, you could also release your students to go at their own pace. So bringing in that independent practice.
If I'm in my Google slide and I have the extension added and I'm connected to Quizizz, can I throw the whiteboard and the quizzes and stuff on the Google slide as well, or do you have to do that from Quizizz?
You have to do that. That's automatic from Quizizz, and it's not. It just is there in the lesson. So once you start a lesson, this toolbox will automatically appear. There's not anything you enable, but that's on within the Quizizz platform, not as a part of the extension.
Once you start
hosting it, right?
Oh, so you can't put it in ahead of time. Like if I was thinking to myself, oh, I want to make sure I have a whiteboard between slides 7 and 8. I would have to wait till I got to slide 7 and then enable the
right. And it's so easy. It's just a matter of you clicking on it, and then you can give your students their own whiteboard. So a couple things that you can do if you are needing to explain something in more detail. If I teach math from basic to advanced, I could insert an equation and work it out, clearing up any misconceptions, whatever the content is. But what I really love is that students can have their own whiteboard, so you can immediately have them work out some problems. You can see where the misconceptions are, and you can also just bring them into the conversation so that you can project multiple students' whiteboards. You can turn their names off because every student doesn't want what they're doing projected. So this is a great way. And let's see who did this. Katie, this is exactly what I was looking for, right? And we have 2 Katies, and Katie W, I love it. So this is just right on time. All right, so that's just, all of that is right there, and then you can go right back to your live slides. So it just makes it really quick and easy for teachers to just transition between these different interactive features within the lesson. And of course, we have passages as another feature that we can utilize, bringing in those comprehension questions. Interactive videos are a great instructional tool with the questions already being inserted. The video will actually pause when it gets to those questions. Students can't skip through them. They can't fast forward through them. They have to actually answer the questions. And what you're going to see within Quizizz is that we've consolidated a lot of the EdTech tools into this one hub. And one of the benefits of our interactive videos is that there are over 135,000 that are in our library already. So teachers could already find interactive videos that they can use, or they can even use AI to generate questions to go along with the videos. We have a combination of YouTube videos as well as Quizizz kind of verified videos as well. And then of course we have flashcards. And let me just tell you all, flashcards, I know a lot of teachers think these are just for elementary. They are not. I have a daughter who is a senior, at Vanderbilt. She still uses flashcards to this day to prepare, to learn content and just to prepare. And with these flashcards, this is something I just found out really recently. We can create flashcards from assessments, but vice versa, as students go through these flashcards, and they will get a confidence score on whether they know it or if they're still learning it. After they go through it, they can even take a practice assessment as well. So this is going to help prepare them for whatever assessments that they may have coming up. So a lot of great ways that we can utilize these. So let's go right to it. How do we get to the instructional suite? It is the purple create button. And so say, for instance, I wanted to create a passage and I'm preparing for the ACT, for my ACT prep class. So what I can do, I'm going to just bring in my own passage and I'm going to upload a document. And you all, the document that I'm uploading, I got this from, I think it was the Men of Brewster's Place. This was a passage that I pulled from actually released ACT. So this is the Men of Brewster's Place. It pulls my PDF in. I could also have AI just as quickly create from a topic. So I'm going to just tell it to generate questions with AI. I can tell it if I want open-ended, fill in the blank, multiple choice. And I can also tell it what rigor level. Maybe I want understanding, applying, analyzing, and evaluating, because we know, let me take understanding off, especially if we get into that higher level, we want students to be able to synthesize this content, apply it, and just make meaning of what's there. And what I really love, students can also annotate. Oh my goodness, what happened? Let's try it again.
Always when you're presenting.
Always, it never fails.
Well, and I feel like too, when you're going through like a video conference call too, there's just that added layer.
It always is.
Getting in the way, you know.
Right. And so here it is. It created these questions for me. Typically when AI creates these questions, if you don't tell it what you're looking for, it's going to generate multiple choice questions by default. But that is okay, because when a teacher clicks on any question, whether it's multiple choice, they can choose and change it to a different question type. And they can also, what this does, it allows students to see those technology enhanced questions that they will see on those state assessments as well. So definitely wanted to call that out. And they could also add their own additional questions if they needed to. So the students get comfortable with these types of questions. You simply publish it. And this is also great, not just for ACT prep, but for AP. If your students are taking AP courses, this is great for that. IB courses, we know that those are what students, this is testing season, and everyone is in test prep mode, regardless of the type of test. And you publish it, it's optional to add your image. Also, let's take a look at an assessment, because I want you to see how we could just as easily create an assessment. And this time I'm going to generate with AI. And KDW, what do you teach? A couple of things.
I'm sophomore, like special ed English.
Okay.
So I do a lot of like reading English passages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, y'all, we're pressing the easy button. So I'm going to do from a text or a prompt. And what you said, English. All right, so I can choose my subject. I choose my grade level. What grade level do you said sophomore?
Yeah, 10th grade.
10th grade. All right, so at this point, I can have it create from standards. So I just select standards and I find my state. So we can have a couple of things, maybe general literacy skills. I heard you say special ed, special education, but we also could just choose Illinois. Our standards pop up. And let me just select a couple of standards that I want to assess, or even.
Felisa, while you're selecting those standards, do you have all of the Illinois standards? Like yesterday, we were discussing art and theater and something. So are all of them in there?
Let me
or is
see.
it just like reading, math?
Arts.
Oh yeah, the arts are there. Okay, great.
Computer science, physical science.
Our teachers will be thrilled.
I mean, physical education. All right.
Yeah,
so
it's a work in progress. So
is.
if you don't see them there yet, like this is something where we've kind of prioritized kind of the core four to start,
And I
and
think
then
that's
are
what most
adding in the
companies
others.
are doing,
Yeah.
you know, but the more and more staff are using it, they're like, hey, what about me?
Right, absolutely. So here are standards, and what we also can do at this point, we can also identify or tell AI we want specific DOK levels, maybe different rigor levels for the questions. Of course, I want a strategic thinking, or I may want to recall because I want students to experience some level of success. And AI will begin to immediately create them for me. It tells me the correct answer, the DOK level for each question, and the particular standard that it is assessing. And I'm just going to stop it there because I wanted you to just see how it works. And of course, I could chat with AI again, but I'm going to use this latest quiz that it generated. And it's what would happen. It would bring it over to a point where I could actually modify it or use AI to modify it. So let me just go to my library and show you how it would actually bring it up. And it would bring it up to the point where I could edit it. So when I had selected use this quiz, it would bring it up to this edit page where I can then use AI to modify it even more. So what you're going to see is AI is built throughout the platform. So I could have AI add an answer explanation to every single question, which I typically do because for me, that's just a great practice. Because if my students miss a question, I want them to understand why the correct answer is correct. And if they see a question similar to that again, they would have already gotten that immediate feedback. I could also use AI to make this more accessible for my students, to simplify questions if I need to, reduce multiple choice options, or even make it fun by adding my students' names or converting to real world scenarios. So that's always built in, and then I can publish it so that I can.
Thinking back about that list of standards, do you have anything connected to the ACT?
I know let me go the way we would find that. You're talking about in terms of standards?
Well, like, can it generate ACT type questions, or like you said, you had the retired ACT passage that you went down.
Yes. So let me show you, it can absolutely do that. So if I wanted to, instead of just generating from a standard, if I wanted to import a worksheet, say for instance, I pulled a worksheet. I pulled a release test. So I could just upload from my device, or I could just tell it, create ACT type. So you can also just tell it what you're looking for. So I'm just going to use this example. I have an AP, and some of the question types are similar. I have a release AP government activity. And so I could just tell it what I'm looking for. And I think this was social studies, 11th grade. And I'm going to tell it to generate. And just from anything that I pull from the ACT site, those release assessments or release passages, it can generate worksheets. It can generate practice assessments from those as well. So it's totally up to you how you choose to have it create, whether you upload or whether you just tell it from a prompt to create these types of questions.
Oh, and Katie, it looks like Amber, if you go in the chat, she shared something as well. And then
what is generated one. I could also have it add similar questions based on this, because that passage was on the Miranda rights.
Got it.
I'm curious about this. I work with a number of Illinois districts, and this is coming up in another high school district that I'm working with currently. And I'd love to know just a little bit more about, like, what does that specific practice look like, and what would be helpful, like, as far as the ACT prep and practice. I put a sample English practice quiz in here. This is one just that was created by one of our another teacher, and it's in our Quizizz library, but it's been played over 1,000 times. So it's,
and that's
like,
why you read my mind,
really
Amber,
popular.
because
it's
I was
really
going
popular
to the Quizizz library, and I was just going to search ACT prep.
Well, and Katie just shared the skill bands that they are looking at for the ACT.
Thank you.
So I think that if we, it would be cool if in that list of standards, you could also pull down like some ACT.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
I'll pass along that feedback.
Yeah,
I agree.
mean, it will get used. You can see from this one that you shared, right, that people are using it.
Mhm.
And let me just show you this as well, Katie, because there have also been some updates to the library. So one thing is now you can also, and I'm going to send you all of these links that I share, but you
Great.
can also just look for high school resources. You can also look by the content and the type of resource that you're looking for. So this is a great way for your teachers that they can get what they need, also in helping them not only with their core content, but also with maybe some of that prep for those, maybe the ACT, looking at some of those skills and they can save these activities for later. We also have, they can look by the publishers, because we have partnerships with specific publishers, for instance, PhET. For your science teachers, they're actually PhET simulations or Wall Street Journal, because some of those skills, they can utilize some of these skills, even looking at those interactive videos and or the passages or collections, all types of things that they can get from looking at some of these resources from the partners.
Oh,
And
that's
even
great.
books, because for your ELA reading teachers, have them search by books. And say, for instance, we wanted to do this one some off-day summer. They could browse the different activities, over 182 activities just for this book alone, from pre-reading,
Wow. Okay.
lessons, vocabulary, and other skills. So that may address some of the things that you're looking for. And you can even search by specific passages. Let me see. So I want you to see, here we go. We can even search by the passages. Well, it will bring up all the passages that are in the Quizizz library. And they can search by those skills here as well, of what they may need, from inferencing to main idea. And they can choose the grade level that they're looking for. Maybe 11th grade, or for KDW, 10th grade was those skills, and just find the activity or any of these, so the students can practice those skills in preparation, not only for the ACT, but just for anything else that they may need. And so this is already there, and they can just host this quiz live or copy and edit to bring it over to their account. And then they can modify these questions if they needed to, or add additional questions. And what I love to do here, because Katie also, I think she said she teaches special education, everything in Quizizz is customizable and flexible. So you could actually bring in scaffolds if you needed to. So I could bring in an image, especially for my students that may need that additional support. So I could bring in an image, and I can remember what this was about, you all, what the topic of this passage was. Or even add audio directions for my students, or upload an MP3 file. Students, as you read this passage and answer these questions, refer back to your notes if you are having trouble. So stop the recording and insert that. Or I could just as quickly find a little video snippet. Once again, I can't remember what. I'm just going to say, I don't even know what this is about, but I'll find a video and just insert this video.
Sure.
And of course, you can modify the questions and you simply publish it.
Wow. That's a lot.
Right.
So we've got like about 5 minutes left.
Okay. So let's talk about accommodations. Accommodations is another great way that we can provide support for our students, whether they're English language learners or students with disabilities. I can assign accommodations based on students' 504 plan. With the basic plan, these 3 will be free. So you can assign the read aloud to your students, extra time on assessments, or even increase the number of attempts that they may have. So a lot of different ways that we can utilize this. And you just save the changes. The accommodations will always stick. So once I get ready to assign an activity, regardless of what that activity is, my students will receive that activity based on their accommodations, whether it's for homework or practice, or if I start it live.
So Katie just asked if kids need to be, like, if they need to have an account, and Amber, you said yes. So you can create manually, but do they have to have one, or can they just scan in with a code?
So they can scan in with a code if they're not, if you're just joining like Felicia's hosting today. If you want to apply those accommodations, they do need to be part of a class. And Google is like our most flexible LMS that we work with. And so like you would actually be able to import your Google Classroom classes.
Yeah,
They
we
should
don't
be able
use
to.
Google Classrooms. We've got,
You do, that's right. You're Schoology, aren't you?
yeah,
Yep.
we're Schoology, but I
Yep.
So
just,
you could, it will still have the classes, if you bring them in, or if you do
Yeah, so it
LTI,
could-
you'll still
it
see your
could be
class
rostered.
rosters.
I'm
Yep,
assuming
yep.
you're SOPA and FERPA compliant then.
We are. Yeah, we have a statewide NDPA, and